Have you ever wondered how poets and spoken word artists make money while solving real problems with their talents? On this episode, our guest, RhymeSonny, helps us with this. Join us. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the episode 1 of the Talent Master Show with me, Maxwell Mensah. On this episode, we'll be interacting with RhymeSonny. He's a poet and a spoken word artist. We want to find out what he does with his talents, how he makes money with his talents, and which real problems he solves with his talents. Ladies and gentlemen, help me as we welcome Mr. RhymeSonny. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm well by grace, and you?
Thank God.
All right, so thank you for being our very first guest on this show. It's an honor to have you, and we are hoping that this interview is going to help a lot more upcoming artists to learn what it takes to be a poet and a spoken word artist. So help us, who are you?
RhymeSonny is a poet, spoken word artist, like you rightly said, and also a creative entrepreneur. Yes. So anything that borders with creativity or using our minds and skill sets, you can have me around.
Okay, so on an everyday basis, what do you do? So RhymeSonny wakes up in the morning, what do you do?
Probably you do your prayers, and then you if you have you look at your schedule book, what do you have to do in the day. I'm not your regular 9 to 5 person, so depending on what I have to do in the day, in terms of meetings, in terms of research, in terms of writing, rehearsing, I have a schedule. So basically, my life revolves around that.
So on days when you are very busy, how do you start your day? Do you structure? Okay, so on Mondays I do only poems. On Tuesdays.
One thing that can run through my entire week or day is rehearsing or writing or going back to editing a piece, or the rest are not something that you can reconstructure. Meetings, you can't say that you want to have a meeting with somebody every day, or no. This is, as creative people, there's no more or less like a box kind of schedule for you to follow. Yes, but one thing that that runs through my entire week could be writing, rehearsing, performance, or any other thing that comes along with what I do.
Okay, so let's start from the scratch. Writing. What goes into writing as a poet?
Depending on the topic and the inspiration, where they are coming from, you have to do a bit background check. Or we have different people have different skill set or style of writing, or acquiring information to putting together the topic they want to write on. Me, these are not things that is a regular. It's different. It can be, the inspiration can strike you while you are eating, can strike you while you are conversing with somebody, can strike you while you are watching TV. So as soon as the inspiration comes, you pick your phone basically, or your pad, and then you can scribble what is it. But sometimes these information come in bits and pieces. There are poems that can take a year, others can take a minute. There are poems that
poem will take a year to write.
Yes, there are poems that take years.
Wow.
to finish, from start to finish. That okay, this is a great work, because the good thing about poetry is that you can always go back to it and edit it and make it better, depending on your target market, audience, and whatnot. But one thing that I would say, you talk about writing. Writing is basically having an idea and putting your thoughts down. Yes.
All right, so like I was saying to you off camera, several years back I used to write poems. It got to a point that I feel I've lost the knack for writing poems. What do you think would have been a problem for me losing that kind of interest in writing poems?
I don't know if you actually writing poems and you actually stopped, and what time you stopped and why you stopped. I cannot tell. But one thing that I know is that anything or inspiration or habit or talent or gifts that we have, when we start working with them, at a point, some will lose interest in them. Some will find different gifts, they will find different interests, and they will switch. That things happen in our life that
So it's normal.
it's normal. It's normal.
Talent and
Yes.
decide that.
Yes, we all started when we were kids. We have interest in playing football along the line. Some of us stopped, others continue and took it to a professional level. With people will start singing in church and all of that. Others in time may stop, lose interest in it. People will take it up. So it's normal. Okay. Anything that has to do with talents and interests, people will pick them up from different stages. Others may even pick theirs at the latter stage of their lives. So it's normal. You may be able to go back to it and pick it up and start writing again. And it's normal. It's normal.
Now, based on the reply you just gave, now let me find out, how did you discover you have a talent for poetry?
Well, I'm somebody who loves music.
Okay.
So one time I realized I could create music. I could write songs. I started writing songs for my friends in high school, and also after high school, I wrote a lot of songs. I listened to a lot of songs. I went out, got so much inspiration, different topics that I could put it in songs, and I did that. Along the line, I never realized that I could sing because I didn't push myself to that level. So my works as songwriter, the songs were there lying down. So one time I got an opportunity to witness a poetry competition, and I actually participated in that. It just struck me that this is where I should go. Wow. Metro TV back in 2003 announced a poetry competition on Val's Day around the same time. And then I was listening to the show. There was Dimea Kayin, Suan Kalebo White. They were the panelists, and I told my friend that, look, I'll write a poem and I'll win.
Wow, you said you write a poem and you win. Just like
yes,
that.
And I did it. I wrote a poem in 2 days. It took about a day or two. I submitted. After a week, they called me that I won first prize. So
wow.
I came on TV at that time, and then when I was driving back home, I decided that I need this direction. So I started reading about poets, I started reading poems and trying to understand the literary devices, whatever goes into the poetry, if the form, the structures. I started reading about it and understanding.
Maybe did you read general art in school or something that had to do
No,
with art?
I don't have any background in literature. All our 2x4 literature that we have in English class, yes, define, onomatopoeia, and those things. That's all those ones that I had.
I see.
But as a poet, as a songwriter, there's, creative people, there are things that we do unconsciously and others that you know and you do it. So one time you may go back and realize that, okay, you did this and this was actually right in terms of what a poem is. So I went back looking up some of the songs I've written, and I realized that these are even actually poems. Yes. And because we haven't put in a rhythm, so I started converting some of my songs into poems, and then after uni, I decided to take up poetry serious.
Wow, that's nice. I mean, that is a very nice recapture of how RhymeSonny began as a poet. I mean, the talent you have don't always come in one way, and normally you don't have a talent, or you don't discover a talent because of what you studied in school. But when the talent is there, it comes up at any point in time. So at this point, we will jump straight to find out from RhymeSonny. So over the years, you've been one of the top names when it comes to poetry and spoken word in Ghana. I mean, I was telling my colleagues that when we have to mention the top 3 spoken word artists in Ghana currently, your name will be part of the top 3. Do you consider yourself one of the masters in poetry in Ghana?
I never consider myself a master in anything. I always consider myself a student of progress and a student of who aspire to grow in every field that I find myself. So I constantly find ways to educate myself, to learn on the rudiments of it. And I believe that with consistency in anything that you do, you definitely achieve some level of growth. And so I am still pushing myself to that, climbing the growth ladder and also becoming great. So we're still working on myself, and I'm still pushing harder. Best or first, those things doesn't really matter to me. Yes.
I was going to ask that if you had to mention the top three spoken word artists or the top 3 poets in Ghana, who and who you mentioned as the top 3?
I really appreciate talent. So I've worked with so many poets, every poet. As soon as I discovered that this guy, you're good, you understand what you're doing, we can work together. I work with more than 100 poets in Ghana, and so I cannot say that everybody have their unique talent and abilities, unique styles. You can listen to Chief Moment. There's something unique about his flair and his depth of knowledge. Nana Sase brings some freshness of tradition onto the whole presentation of poetry. Amaze, Zeben, Jeffrey Norte, Ellie Dior, Jewel, the energy. Different people have got their own specific and unique abilities that they bring to whatever they do. For example, if you look at football, it takes so many players. There can be so many people at the top, but there are exceptions, and their uniqueness separates them. Yeah. So I don't think there's a need for us to rank. Yes, it's good. It's good for the market, and the economics of it permits us to do that. But people outside can do it. Yeah. I know who I am, and anytime, any day, I am very confident about my abilities, and that's the most important to me.
Interestingly, this is not a rank, but when I'm to mention my top 3, right? You are one, and then the remaining 2 are the first 2 you mentioned when you were mentioning the number of poets you work with. I'll mention the names, but
oh, come on!
So
what are you afraid of? If you love people, let them know that you love them. And if you love their works, let them know you love their works.
That's good. So my top 3 poets in Ghana currently, I'll mention RhymeSonny, I'll mention Chief Moment, and I'll mention Nana Sase. They are my top 3. So those are my top 3. All right, now let's get to the money part of what you do. How do you make money from poetry and spoken word?
How do one make money from work?
Yeah.
You work and you get paid. It's as simple as that.
Is it a profitable venture here in Ghana?
Of course. Everything that you put in energy, it results to work. And work is a pull or push. When you push, there's a result that need to replenish that energy. And anybody who understands the principle of life needs to pay back something. It might not be a form of a cash. It might be a form of, like, a lot of favors come with it. For me, I would say that it's fulfilling. And that is the most important thing. When I'm looking at what you mentioned, if it pays, you can look at it in 2 ways: the social impact and the economics impact. Economics is you're looking at money. Money is not everything, and sometimes the kind of things that you get out of your gifts, you can't even quantify it in terms of money. Yes, the social prestige that you enjoy, the impact that you make in people's life, how your works change people, and the kind of prayers and the kind of feedback you get, and people prophesy into your life just by listening to you and getting challenged or getting inspired, motivated, or even coming out of some stress or problem. Those are even huge than the money. Yes. Yeah. I'm not saying that poetry don't pay. Poetry really pays. And if I mention figures, I can easily mention figures. Yes. Yeah. I know every poet today, some sort of have their own rates, and people even they demand invoice for our works. Poetry really pays and pays well. Every form of creativity should be paying, and poetry is not is one of them. It pays well. Yes.
Wow. So
yes.
that is a very good feedback for anyone who has the love for the spoken word or the poetry and wants to venture into it. My guests say that it pays. Beyond the impact that you make in the lives of people, it pays. So for those of us who have been wondering whether or not to consider it as a full-time thing to do, have it in mind that it pays. Now, to the very final part of this interview, we want to find out which real problem do you think you solve in Ghana? We know that drivers, solve, when it comes to people in transportation, they solve this kind of need in entertainment, people in government, people in. So, which problems do you solve with spoken word or poetry? Which problems do you solve?
Every problem.
Like?
Mention a problem and let me show you how poetry can be used to solve it.
Okay, so a problem like health.
Okay, great. So, health. Poetry can be used as an advocacy tool. Poetry can be used as a healing tool, it's a therapy.
Okay.
Poetry, so when there's a need to push for a health policy, you employ the tool of spoken word to advocate for these policies. You can, when you want to campaign about HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis and all of that. People who are stressed, they need some kind of relief listening to soothing messages. So that's the beauty of poetry, can heal people. Yes.
Okay, so let's take an area, okay, entertainment is very obvious. So let's take an area like transportation.
Transportation. So recently I joined Guinness Ghana Limited on their campaign, okay. Join the pact. Go the distance rather.
Okay.
So it's a road safety campaign, and they employ the service of poets to help make sure that it gets into the message gets into the drivers and also gets into the public, so that public the Christmas festivities will be careful and be aware of the dangers it's associated with drunk driving and everything. So in terms of transportation, this is one area that we advocate, we've done.
I want to use one industry, right, to create a solution for Ghana that can be exported or that can be used to sell Ghana outside. The creative art industry, what do you think can be done to solve a problem that can be exported outside?
I think the biggest industry that is currently selling Ghana more and more is sports and creative arts. Yes, music, traveling across, and now it goes on with products, brands, and these brands, local brands. Anytime Amachidede moves with the band, it moves with the brand Ghana out there. Anytime Blasters is playing, they play with that brand Ghana agenda. Anytime I stand at any platform around the world to perform, I greet and I make sure that people know that this is coming from Ghana. So creative arts also have huge following. It's more or less one of the top GDP earners for the country. So creative arts as an industry is big. It employs so many youth. It employs songwriters, musicians, music producers, sound engineers, directors, video directors, makeup artists, costume designers, fashion designers, set designers. It creates works for hotels who have rooms, who have auditoriums for events. It creates work for tourism, because when there's an event, it brings in people. Yes, so much benefit. Yeah. So I will even say that it's a sector, because it's not even an industry, it's a sector. and it's links with different industries, the tourism industry, the culture, education. It links with different industries, so it's a huge sector.
Okay. My last question. Do you think education, this one, answer with a yes or a no, then we take a final words. Current educational structure, do you think it helps to build the creative arts industry? Yes or no?
It does.
It does. All right. So RhymeSonny has been my guest on the episode 1 of Talent Master Show. RhymeSonny, thank you very much. Can we have your very final words to our viewers?
What I'll say is that poetry is the best alternative form for anything entertainment, education, and information dissemination. The fulfillment that comes with it as a poet is amazing. The impact that one can create with people and the lives of others is enormous. Let's take a second look at poetry, spoken word, and let's celebrate our poets of old and our poets today. Yes.
Thank you very much, our wonderful viewers. This has been the episode 1 of Talent Master Show with me, talent man Maxwell Mensah. I've been interacting with RhymeSonny. He's a poet and a spoken word artist. RhymeSonny has been, for me, I've been listening to him for so many years. Recently, I've been listening to some of his pieces on Xylophone FM, you know, and RhymeSonny is an amazing guy. Those of you who don't know him, let's give your social media handles.
Yeah, so at RhymeSonny, RhymeSonny. Okay. I believe that you can display it on your reader. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. So when you go to Instagram, Facebook, RhymeSonny. So thank you very much. We have been proudly sponsored by EASTGATE Hotel here in East Legon, 10 Oleinu Street. We have been sponsored by Ultimate Credit Solutions Limited, Mantra Group, Majesty Group. I mean, our sponsors are enormous, but if you want to also come on board to sponsor our show, you are welcome to sponsor us. Thank you very much. We will see you in the upcoming episodes.